Imagine your small local punk rock band makes it huge. Like Nip Slip at the Super Bowl halftime show huge. But at the same time, they're getting even better at being your small local punk rock band. Evil's kind of like that band, and the third generation following is the album that goes mainstream. It's so good, it's confusing.
Cool. This is a bike that really messed with my head. It feels like I'd been riding this bike all summer. I just hopped on it and I was like, how long have I been in quarantine? Is this my bike? What's going on? It is a really well put together bike. And this Evil Following is a bike that I'll admit, I looked at the updates and I looked at the numbers and I said, what a shame. You know, it's not doing what all these new bikes are doing, and it's not kind of going along with this trend, and you hop on and you're home.
But still, they did make, some significant changes.
Absolutely. But you kind of, from a company like Evil, I kind of thought they would kind of push it, you know?
Yeah.
And I looked at
that. Take it too far.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
I looked at those numbers and I was like, oh, thank God they didn't go too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do like these little bit faster handling bikes and stuff. I like that maneuverability of a slightly steeper head angle that you might not expect. From a company like Evil, designing bikes in Bellingham where terrain is steep and stuff. They're in the same town as Transition, who's like really pushing the head angle slack game pretty far. And they didn't do that, and I think it paid off really well. I think they made a smart choice designing this bike.
Yeah, so this was 66.9 with the 130 fork, which is how we rode it. You can get it with 120 or 130. The reach on a medium is 460, which is a bit longer than it's in there, but it's on the long side.
Yeah, there's not a lot of bikes in this 120 category that are much longer.
Yeah.
Honestly, and for a large, it's a 480. That's pretty long.
Yeah, definitely. We look at the seat angle on this bike, and it's really steep, I think the steepest that we have here in the test.
And the other thing that they did was they stuck with a 51 mil offset fork, whereas seems like everybody is going to the short offset forks.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we like this, we like the way it works, we're gonna stick with it. And I think that was a good choice too, all the numbers, I'm not short offset forks are what they are, but they made a bike that works with 51, and this bike is poppy and it's just goes where you want it to go.
Super short chain stays. I think those 430 chain stays really play into that playful poppiness that you're.
Oh God, yeah, and just the suspension, kinematics and stuff. The way that this bike shoots you into the air on any little roller, it's just insane. We had all these water bar rollers, and it's just boosting twice as high as anything else. Even shorter travel bikes with shorter, more sort of progressive shock things, and it was, it seemed like it could be a more ground huggy bike compared to some of the more XC bikes that we were riding.
Yeah.
But it was peering right into the air. It's so much fun to ride.
Yeah, but not a problem because you've got 200 rotor up front, you've got code brakes, you've got that super boost spacing on the rear, you've got this really stout little package with this snappy handling. It's a really, really unique bike, and it feels like you could throw anything at it.
Well, that Delta linkage too. I mean, I was definitely impressed with the climbing abilities. I climbed a fair bit with the shock open, and it's sort of like the Revel. I felt some movement, but it was in a good way. I actually really preferred feeling that on the trail versus having it be maybe a little bit too firm.
It's one of the few bikes in this fleet where you can actually stand up off the saddle and give it and have it actually not spin out on you on some of the steeper stuff. It's like the wheel is trying to dig into the ground, And then the pedal mode on this particular shock that we have on this build, which is RockShox Deluxe, it's actually a really nice, it's not too firm.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. If you want a little bit extra platform on a Viro climb, whatever, then you can just pop into that and, you're dialed.
If you've never ridden Evil's Delta Link, that supportive feel is probably the first thing you'll notice. It kind of feels like it's reading your mind. It's ready to pop before you even see the rock. It's ready to pedal before you even raise your saddle. But then when you're ready to plow through the rough stuff, it's already got that handled too.
And descending that rock garden on this thing, I mean, it's just like,
Full send.
it just goes into enduro mode. Like I mean, it's the only bike we've ridden where I was like, okay, line, no line, like I can be kind of careless with it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, with a short travel, more XC bike, you are used to kind of needing to be on point a little bit. And
Yeah.
this is like very forgiving.
Yeah, and there's sections in those little rock garden areas where you can actually skip a lot of it if you know, and you're landing in rocks again. And on some of the more pinner bikes, it was a little bit sketchy. Like I didn't want to do that, but on
Yeah.
this bike, it was like, oh, I'm skipping this section, I'm skipping this section, I'm going to boost over this.
There's just
And
no
it's-
deflection, you know, and
Yeah.
I think a big part of that is a really stiff chassis with that updated rear end, and then you've got an aluminum wheel set, which is kind of taking away that harshness, and you can kind of, like you said, get a little reckless.
Yeah, and you know, it's like it's easy to shit on the 157 thing because it's change, and you know we don't like change and whatever. But like I feel like they've done it for the right reasons. Like they wanted to keep those 430 stays, and they did, and it's amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to be able to provide 2.6 tire clearance. And this thing, like that was one of the factors of the old stuff, where it was like barely getting a 235 in there,
Totally.
and you're scraping rocks through the thing all the time.
Yeah.
And so they've you know, they addressed the issues, and it's like people are still going to complain the way they addressed it, but they did, and it's fixed. And they also made the bike quieter. You know, they've got these new rubbers
Yeah.
on the chainstay. It's like it's a more fluid. Like they've taken their time to update this bike,
more
and
refined.
it's nice to see Maxxis rubber on there, and
Yeah.
the i9 stuff is excellent. I don't love the Hydra.
It's loud.
just
It'll be
because-
polarizing.
Yeah.
It's a love it or hate
It's
it.
a loud hub.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a loud hub guy. I think it sounds cool.
It's not even like the volume of it. It's more of like that high pitch of it, you know? That I feel like it just like, it rings my ears a little bit differently.
There is quite a bit of customization with this bike, which is another cool thing that's offered. You know, it's a boutique brand, and they build in Bellingham, and so there's quite a few options. Like you can build this pretty custom.
Yeah, there's a whole range, which is cool. You can build it to be like a BCBR race machine, or like more of a just rip chuckanut runs on it. you know?
You know, it comes at a premium. This bike definitely comes at a premium. I think the one we rode is $7,400.
You can get into this bike for $5,800.
Yeah.
That's the low end. So it is a high low end for, you know, compared to some
Yeah.
other brands.
Definitely.
I would always recommend somebody to start with a really nice chassis and everything, and set it like over something, you know, that like, you know, that might be a little less developed. You know, you're getting that Dave Weigel design.
Yeah.
You're paying for that.
I think some of these bikes we've been riding definitely leans towards that more XC, and I think you can put some really aggressive type riders on this bike along with those XC people. It's really gonna appeal to a lot of different kinds of riders.
Totally.
Pretty soon, the Evil Following's edgy bass riffs are going to start chugging out of the hipster used record store in the corner, and the family Prius that's passing by it. But don't fight it. Whatever it sounds like in your head, that's what matters. We've got the full written review and the rest of the Bible of Bike Test videos at bikemag.com.